Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have a good looking puzzle here. And I don't know if it's just randomness or what have you. It seems like a few of the puzzles that I've seen lately have this kind of crosshairs type of look to them. I don't know if that's any reason for that, but just a random thought from me. Anywho, this one is called Reticule by Skeptical Mario. And let's just jump into our rules of this one. And there aren't a ton of them, so it shouldn't take too long. So we've got normal Sudoku rules. So every row, every column, and 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each. We've got killer cages. There are 4 of those. So these digits, whatever they may be, will add up to 18, and the digits cannot repeat in them. Then we've got thermos. So digits along a gray thermometer line increase moving away from the bulb. So this is the bulb, this is the tip. Digits increase in value as they move up the thermo. They do not have to do so linearly or anything like that. They just have to have higher values as you move up. And that's it. So those are the rules. 2 simple ones. Not simple necessarily, but 2 very standard variant Sudoku type of rules. So with that said, and I don't really have a big intro today, just going to get into this puzzle. So link is in the description below. Let's get started. And as always, where do we start? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this 35 cage, we actually know what the digits are. They have to be 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, because 5 digits add up to 35 without repeating them is 9, 8, 7, 6, and 5. The only way it works. And we can say that if this has to be a 5 as its bare minimum, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to be able to just get what these are. So that's good. Didn't expect that, but it happened. These can't be 9s and 5s. This can't be a 6. This can't be an 8. Now, do we have anything similar to that in any of these other ones? I don't think we do, because 5 digits, if we go on the opposite end of it, the lowest we can ever get to is 15. So there's a little bit of wiggle room there. Although we may be able to use the options in terms of how the thermo works to reduce that. Now, can we ever do away with the 1? Let's think about it in that sense. I don't think we probably can, right? Because 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would be more than 18. So I think we'd have to stay in like the 1s, probably with the 2s as well. 6, 10, yeah, we'd have to have a 2 as well. I think after that it is possible. Yeah, it would be possible to not use a 3, because 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 would get us to 18. The problem with that is because there still is like there's 3 levels of differentiation between the 15, which is the bare minimum we can do, leaves options. So I think we can go up to probably, well, what is the bare minimum we can, or the digit that we can go up to as a highest? It's probably like 7, but either way, I don't think it's going to quite help us there. So let's think elsewhere. Now, this central point is semi-interesting, because we know this digit has to at least be less than 4 other digits. So 5 would be the maximum this one could be. Let's think about how that might work. Well, there probably are some things we can think about there. But are they going to really be useful? Or do we want to look more about what the digits we actually did get? Because we really could start thinking about it and say, can this be a 5? And what are all the options that could go off of it, and et cetera, et cetera. Actually, we know we can't put a 5 here. Do it the simple way, because these would have to be 6, 7, 8, and 9. And what the heck would this be? Yeah, so the 4 is still possible here, but I don't think that's going to, again, it probably won't get us enough to really get into these as too many options until we figure out some further things out here. So let's think about that. this digit here compared with this digit, can we make any use of it? Probably this one might be better to look at because we can associate the 987s not being here in any way, shape, or form. So the most this can ever be is a 6. Yeah, so there's going to be a little bit of possible variation along this thermo. Now, because of that, and this being a fairly low digit, and this not being super high, I'm wondering if there's anything there we could think of. So if this is a 2, this would be a 6 kind of situation. So we're at 8. But we need to get these other 3 digits up to 18 then. The problem with that is there's still multiple ways I think that could work. And again, without jumping into throwing into every possible option there. Is it possible that this is a 1-5? Let's think of it that way. Yeah, there probably can be, because these would be 6. We'd have to get up to 20. And it seems like that is very possible to do. Because even 987 would get us to 24. So there's room to work there, I would say. Okay. What about then looking at this one? I had thought about it previously, but it may make some sense because we know 5, 6, and 7s can't ever go on here. So what can? Let's think about all these options. It might be easier to think about it from the back side, like I was thought about originally. So the lowest this could ever be would be a 5. This can't be an 8, so 7, 6, 5, 4. Then we get into, we can't use 6, we can't use 5, but we could use 4, 3. And we'll get 3, 2 like this. So there is some reduction there. It's not great though. Again, we've got this 26 clue that's got a 1 or a 2 on it, but we can easily get to something like that. I'm wondering if we need to jump into this guy and figure out, excuse me, what we can do with it. The problem with this is there's no, I mean, there is some ways to restrict it, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be extremely restrictive. Like we would know you obviously can't put a 3 here because you get a 2 and a 1 and you'd be destroying the entirety of this thermo, things like that. And we would essentially know, well, if this was at its maximum, we'd have a 5 and a 9. We'd be at 14 already, and we can't make another 4 in 3 digits. Those sorts of things could reduce this. Let's just take a look at it then. We know this can't go to 5, so let's not worry about that right now and see what we can get out of this. Oh, there we go. One reason to do this is just to see if we get anything that starts staring down, like this 1, 2, 3, 4 situation is what I was hoping for. We know that now looking at the options, we have a quadruple in this column, so therefore these guys cannot be from 2, 3, or 4. So we're pushing this up, and that may end up having a consequence over here as well. So let's go with, and also we're going to get a fairly high digit here in this 18, which then is might be able to give us something here. So we're looking at either an 8 or a 9 here. This can't be a 7. because if it did, it would be a 7-8 pair and we'd break this. Those sorts of things are somewhat useful. Now, this can be a 9. Or can it? Actually, I don't think it can. Let's think about that then. If this is a 9, we're saying that these 4 digits must add up to 9, but they can't repeat, so that doesn't work. So this is 8, which is going to give us some information going down the line here until we get to here. But we also do know that if this is an 8, we cannot go... Wait, hold on. Yeah, if this is a 9, we end up with having only 9 left over. Okay, just wanted to make sure I didn't make a goof there. Because this is 8, we have 10 left, so these have to be 1, 2, 3, 4 in this grouping like this, because it's the only way you can make 10 in 4 separate digits. Now let's use that to go back here. We're going to finish what this thing is and then work backwards, I think, because this can't be 8, 7, or 6 anymore, so it is 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we can remove all of the 1s from there. This has to be a 1. These guys are not going up to here yet, but that's okay. Just making sure there wasn't anything we got here either. So good. Okay. So we know this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. This has to be a 1 because we removed this possibly as a 1. So we have that. We got a bunch of 1s looking... Oh, well, that would be the obvious thing. We would have known this is a 1. Well, no, it's not necessarily true because these could have been 1s, but they can't be anymore. So it wasn't obvious. But now we do know that since none of these can be 1s anymore, this must be a 1. That's not super helpful at the moment, but it's there. Now, what else do we know? Do we want to start looking at some rows and columns? Because we do have quite a bit given in some of them. Let's think about it. What did these have to be? They have to be from 1, 2, and 9. This cannot be 2. This can't be 1. Not great. What about here? Let's see if there's anything on this one. We got 4, 8, and 9. This can't be 4. This can't be 8. So I think the answer there is these columns and rows aren't quite there yet. But let's just finish what we've been looking at least. Because we know these have to be from 7, 8, and 9. This can't be 7. And that's about as far as we're going to get there. We do get an 8, 9 pair here, which is interesting. But again, it looks like that's going to come later on in our solve. What about this guy now? We've got to have 20 in here. Again, we said there's multiple ways to make 20 in 3 digits. How can we reduce our options here? Or maybe if we start thinking about this column, because we actually have some things that are going to restrict what can go where. Let's think about that for a second. Like a 5. We can't ever put a 5 in any of these. So one of these two is. It's very close to being useful. Because if this is a 5, this could be 6, 7, or a 9. So it's not, we can't quite rule that out. Is there anything else? I'm going to put this in as a 6 here, just for visual effects at the moment. And see what else we can see. Okay, let's just go back to 1s. Let's look at basics. This has to be a 1 by Sudoku. Do we have anything else? We don't really. I was hoping that would take us further, but maybe there's other digits in here that we have multiples of that we could use to get any further so that we can then restrict some of these other options are. And we know one of these two is a 5. I don't know that we're going to get a whole lot on this. It is certainly a decent thing to think about. Whenever you can take an easy road, try to do it. Sudoku in its base form is typically the easiest way to go about any puzzle solve, but does not appear like that is the case here. So we're going to have to continue with our logic of thermos and cages. And how are we going to do that? Let's think about this one first. These digits have to be from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This can't be, oh, it can't have 5s, sorry. This can't be 8. This can't be 9. This can't be 8 either, because there has to be an 8 in one of these two. Then we actually do get a 6, 7, 8 in this column, which is interesting. Does that give us any purchase on these other digits? Because we have to be able to put in 2, 3, and 4. And this cannot be 2. So this digit is actually fairly low. So that's probably a good use that we can do. Let's say this is max. Let's say that's a 4. We'd have 4, 5, and 1. So we'd be at 10 exactly. We'd have to get 16 more if maxed out, which has to be 9 and 7. There's no other way to do it. So that's what it is. This is going to have to be a 4. This is going to have to be a 7. It's going to have to be a 9. So we've got our 10, 19, 26, and we're good to go. Now that's going to break these up. And that should hopefully give us what we need. Oops. To finalize. We probably have to go in here and do the same concept that we did here, just to sort this out a bit. But again, always like to try to look and see if there's something clear right off the bat. There doesn't appear to be. So let's look at these guys. We've got quite a few possibilities here, but a lot of them are low. This can't be 8. So the most we can ever get here is a 9, 8 pair, which is 17, 18. And these would have to have at least 8. Now wondering if we look at the next highest possibility, which is 9, 4. That's 13, 14. These have to equal 12. It couldn't be 6, 6. If it's a 5, we could put a 7 here. So that still is possible. I think we might be able to get rid of like the 2 and the 3 as possibilities though. Just looking at 12, 13, we need another 13. No, we could do 3. 11, 12, we need 14 more. We could not do a 2 in here because we'd have 11, 12, we'd need to have 14 more. If we had a 6, we'd have to put an 8 here, which doesn't work. If we put a 5 here, we'd have to put a 9 here, which doesn't work. So this can't be a 2, right? Or is there another way we can do that 2 without using a 9? Let's not be hasty, I guess. Yeah, there's no way to use the 2, because the 8, 2, 10, 11, these would have to be 16. We got a 5, 6 pair here, so that's not possible. So the 2 is out. That's what we've determined. What else does that tell us? Doesn't seem to really do much in terms of telling us where a 2 can go. A little fleck of something on my glasses that are annoying me. So this did not turn out as nicely as I thought it would, like this did. Now, if we could have figured out, if we can figure out these guys more specifically, it would put limitations on some of this stuff, but it doesn't necessarily appear that that's the case. Did we get anything further digit-wise that we could maybe improve our odds? I don't think we really did. Okay. So let's go back to our options of what can and can't go into some of these places and see if we can flush something out. So we need 5, 6, and 8. This can't be 5. Sadly, this could still be an 8 and put a 9 here. I was hoping those sorts of reductions as to what could go where would help us, but it doesn't seem to do it quite there, at least not yet. The 9 is agonizingly close to being useful in this row. Obviously, it can't be any of these, but it could go in here or it could go over here. So what the heck am I missing here? 20. Is it just our possibilities of what these could be, and maybe that shortens things down? Because if this is a 5, let's say, we have 20 left over again. But there really seems like there could be multiple ways to do that. We know we can't use a 2. Well, is that true? If we have a 9, 8 here, 18, we need 8 more. No, we could put a 2 here. That doesn't quite reduce these enough. I feel like I'm missing something that's very simple here that's causing me not to be solving this thing at a useful pace. What is it? What about the tips of these things maybe? Because we do have some reductions. The highest this can be is what? 6 or 4? I guess I could go to a 3. What about, see, these guys are so much less restricted. This could be 7. But maybe if we look at them all together, it'll point into here and give us something. 7 can't be 6, could be 5, 4, 3 would all be possibilities. This one could be a 9, 7 or 6, because we have this 5, 6, 8, so we can't go too low here. And, well, this can't be a 6, sorry, because we have a 6. Let's forget that one. These guys, though, there's still tons of options because we haven't quite figured out this whole situation here. And that's what I feel like is the biggest problem that I'm having with this at the moment. One of these must be a 2. I guess we can say that. Which means one of these must be a 2. What can this one be? I guess 2, 3, 4. That's it. So we get actually, okay. Just putting in the options is what ends up being, although there's quite a few options here. Because this can only be from 2, 3, and 4 at this point now, because it can't be 5, 6, or 7. It's going to create a 2, 3, 4 or triple, excuse me, which means this can't be 3 or 4, so it is 9. Now, that 9 isn't particularly useful in the terms of this 26 because it makes a lot of possibilities. But this, therefore, must also be a 5, 8, and it cannot be the 8. So this is going to be our 5, this is going to be our 8, this is going to be our 9, and that's going to break it all up. Well, part of it up, I should say. This can't be 2. So this can't be 3. Now, this 5, what option does it put here? 6, 8, or 9? Not great. What else do we have, though? This must, that 5 puts a 6 here. Again, so now we're looking at 16, so these have to equal 10. So let's see what the options are. This can't be a 4, but it could be a 3 or an 8, because this could be a 7 or a 2. And that all seems to work out. Is there anything we can do with this column? So I think it is 2, 3, 4, and 7 that we need. We can just look at this first. So that 2 gives us this 3. So these 2, and we're going to get more up here too, but let's do this first. We've got 6 and 7 here. This can't be 6, so it is 7. This is 6. This is 2, and that's going to help us more than the other stuff did. This is 2. And then we can go back and look at this guy. We've got 18, so we need 8 left over. So this is 8. These are not. And what else? Surprisingly, these aren't really sorted out yet. But I think we have enough digits now where we can start finalizing some things, because these now have to do this. That actually is just 2. This is a 3 or a 4. This is 6. This is 5. There we go. We just have to find the spot to look at, because we have a lot written in. 7s, 8s, and 9s. Okay, let's go to base Sudoku here and see what it's going to give us, because we've got to have something good to work with, right? So let's do that. Yep, this is 2. We just have to go back and look at our markings a little bit. That 2 makes this a 2. Let's keep on with the 2s because they're working. This is a 2. Is that going to finalize them? Yes, it does. Okay. Let's look elsewhere again. This is 3, 4, or 8. This is 6, 7, and 9. Oh, no, sorry, that could be. This has to be 3 or 4. Okay. All right, let's go back to it then. 3s. One of these is 3 by Sudoku, which means this isn't, which means this is. What does that leave here? We need to put a 1, a 5, and a 6. We might be able to... Yeah, this one has to be 6. So we get a 1-5 pair there, but didn't quite go far enough beyond that. So let's keep going back to Sudoku, and it's probably going to help. I keep getting distracted is what it is, because I'll start on that, and then something will open it, and then here we go. Okay, that's the one. The 4s are what did it here. Or at least they help significantly. This has to be the 4, which comes around circle now. Gives us, that's 8, that's 4, 8, that's 9, that's 1, this is 7, this is 8. There we go. Now let's look at the remainder that we have here. So you've got to have 3 and 8. So this is 3, this is 8. This is a given 7. That is a 9. These are 1 and 5 still. Okay, what are these two? Try to pick the least amount of options here. We need a 1 and a 3, so this is the 1, this is 3, this is 3, and 5 and 7. And we get a little snow blast in the corner there. This is 4. This has to be 1. This has to be 9. That's going to break up our 6, 9 pair. And then these two are givens. In fact, these are givens too. So let's just do that while we're at it. This has to be 7. This has to be 6. And what is the last digit? It must be a 5. There we go. You solved the puzzle. So that took a little longer than it probably should have, because I did have to really start cranking in, at least from my vision of things, the specific digits that some of these could be before I would be able to bring it down into something that I could process mentally into what they could actually be. But again, excellent puzzle. I do enjoy the ones that kind of have this kind of crosshairs type look to them. They always seem to kind of work, and they seem to kind of run along the crosshairs, obviously, because those are the clues that you have to work with, and then you kind of pinpoint in. So, anywho, enjoyed the puzzle. Hope y'all did too, and I'll see you next one. Thanks a lot.